and how do you plan to help the team bounce back from this disappointment next season?
What's the first part of that?
So what do you
Or the
think are
key
some of the key
factors behind
factors of losing?
loss? I mean, I think the key factors in the two losses were pretty separate. I think some of the key reasons why we didn't perform as well versus R7 were a lot due to nerves for a lot of our players. It's the first time playing at Worlds, and I think that we definitely could have closed out that game too versus R7. But I think one similarity that happened between both of our losses is that once we started losing, we weren't really able to bounce back that well. I think mentally, I think today as well. I think game one we made a couple early game mistakes that got us behind, and the game was pretty unplayable. And our PSG always kept the pressure on, and we didn't really. I feel like we didn't fully get out of game one when we went into game two. I feel like we carried some of that energy, didn't have the same high level of confidence that we did versus a team like SHG, for example.
Next question, Sons of KS.
Hello. I'm sorry for the loss today. Today 100 Thieves and R7 were eliminated from Wars. What are your expectations for the next year with the unification of the leagues in the Americas?
I mean, I think this tournament created some hype. Obviously, like the games between NA and our games versus R7, and also even like Payne's games today were very exciting. So, if anything, I think it built hype and optimism for the incoming merger. And I was already pretty optimistic. I think it's going to be really fun for the fans, and it's going to be a cool new experience for the league itself. So, I'm definitely optimistic about the incoming change.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next question, Cloud Sidkey.
Hey, Goldenglue, sorry about the loss today. Um, a lot of players, a lot of people have been pointing out to Tomo and Quid as not playing as well as they did in LCS to even beat Cloud9 and make it here. And I know a lot of people have been pointing to like stress or nervousness, being rookies. You kind of mentioned that. My question is like, what sort of things did you guys try to do to get them a little bit more comfortable and y- you know did you see that actually working?
Yeah, that's a good question. I do think the thing, like, I think people have said that about both Quinn and Tomo. I think, um, I think Tomo still has like growing pains from joining our team so late in the season, and like we were able to kind of have that, what should we call it? Uh, what's that phase called when you just join the team and everything's just happy? There's some phrase for it.
The honeymoon stage.
Uh, yeah, honeymoon stage. I think we like kind of got past the honeymoon stage, and then we had to figure out all of our problems and work through those again. Um, and I think for Quid, I think it's probably a little overplayed. I know, obviously he didn't have a good Vex game, but I think that Quid just like I think he's still an extremely good player, and I think that, for example, for our matches today, um, I think game one was pretty unplayable for him because just the enemy team was winning. It had really nothing to do with mid. And I think for game two, like he was winning his lane, and obviously, like we just were kind of losing these 3v3s. We're getting caught off. Someone's getting caught off, and he's not really actually able to play the game. So I do think, to say Quid had like a really underwhelming performance or something, I think it's overplayed. Um, and I do think we tried to put them on comfort picks when we could to make them more comfortable in that stage. Like we picked, Ziggs. Game two, he's very good at Hui. Game one, yesterday we picked Oriana and Ash, and that's comfortable for both of them. But it's not easy to do that, get your comfort picks in every draft scenario. So I just try to do my best to do it, but it's kind of hard when you're drafting, if you're making sure you get them on comfort every time.
Next question from Pedro Romero. Commiserations on the loss. And how do you look back at the team's showing for this entire Worlds? And what were some of the biggest positives and negatives that you saw throughout this event?
Um, Good question. I mean, biggest positives, I guess, would see is how we were able to come back after a loss and perform how we did versus SHG. And that was kind of like, I think you could see the highlights of our team. We were obviously a little bit scrappy and a little sloppy, but very explosive with our gameplay. I think disappointing how we played today. I feel like we didn't really show up how we could have, and we could have made the games maybe a little bit scrappier and a little closer. A lot of times we were just getting picked off and not really getting to do the team fights and the team play. And I think positives is I do think the players are. It's 4 out of 5 of them first times at Worlds, and I think it was a really good experience for them. Also, for my first time as a head coach at Worlds, so I think it was a very positive experience for all of our growth.
Next question, Cloud Sidkey.
Yeah, thanks for. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I did want to touch on what you said about being a coach for the first time at the world stage. What do you say between games 1 and 2 when you see that you kind of get stomped and the team isn't playing the way that they should be in that situation? What do you say?
Yeah. So what I told them after today's first game, we have the VOD up in our little room, and I was trying to like, guys, don't look at the VOD. This is the mistakes we made in the early game. Let's move on. Our draft's going to be different. It's going to be a new game, fresh start, and just try. I tried as much as I could to try to get them onto the next page. And I think when you're playing a frustrating game like that for like 25, 30 minutes, and you can't really tell why you can't play the game, a lot of the players are very like inquisitive and they want to figure out what went wrong, why couldn't we play the game, but that's not really important at the time. You have to get them to the next game. So maybe I could have done that even better, but that's what I was attempting to do.
All right, do we have a final question? Going once. Going twice. All right, thanks so much, Goldenglue.
Thank you.